Hi everyone, Materim here, and today we're going to look at my top 5 RPGs that are not Dungeons & Dragons. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Number 5.
Number 5 is the Nomine RPG by Steve Jackson Games. Originally based on a French RPG of a more comedic bent, Nomine allows the players to take on the roles of either angels or demons in the war between heaven and hell. It's very similar mechanically to their GURPS system. One of the things I really like about this game is the unique flavor of the war and how they essentially differentiate the angelic powers versus the demon powers. And they do this by using the metaphor of a symphony, in that the forces of heaven utilize their place in the symphony, as each angel is essentially an instrument. So their powers are designed to be used within the great plan of the symphony to not disturb things. Demons, however, during their fall have broken away from being able to understand the symphony, and so they each have their own individual symphony. So their powers are very divorced from a greater reality, and it's a great read. I love the fluff and the flavor of it. It's just a fantastic game. It's pretty quick to learn. The Steve Jackson games go very quickly. It's all D6 based, so it's definitely a good time. Pick it up, check it out. I definitely highly recommend it.
Number 4.
Number 4 is the Amber Diceless RPG by Phage Press. Now, this is a very unique game. It's actually one of the only Diceless RPGs that I'm aware of, although my experience with them is relatively small. Amber Diceless allows you to enter the world of Roger Zelazny's Amber books, which, if you haven't read them, go out and read them because they're fantastic. But basically the whole premise is that all things that could exist are merely shadows of a true place called Amber, where you take on the personality of one of the scions of Amber, which is a family of essentially the only real people in the universe. They have various abilities to travel through these other worlds that are mere shadows of different shadows of Amber and its counterpart Chaos. You can also play as the Lords of Chaos, which are shape-shifting sort of counterpoint to the Lords of Amber. It's very interesting in that you can literally play anything you want, and the character creation system for being Diceless is very interesting. It's actually done by essentially a bidding war between the players at the very beginning of the campaign. So it's very interesting. Amber is full of politics and backbiting and things like that. So even the character creation helps play into building that idea. I've had great campaigns there. The only big thing is you really need to make sure you've got a good, mature group of players, because it can very easily turn into issues with that kind of backbiting if you don't have people who are able to handle it. But it's great fun. I've enjoyed it, and just the open nature of it is pretty awesome. So definitely check that out.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Vampire the Masquerade by White Wolf Games. Now, I'm kind of cheating here because I am going to include all of the World of Darkness games in this number 3, but there's too many to go over for this video. So we'll focus on Vampire the Masquerade. In it, you are playing a vampire, one of the descendants of the first murderer, Cain, in the Modern Knights. It's really kind of was the first personal horror style RPG, and it's a very simple system. I really like the world. You're a member of one of a number of vampire clans, which give you different, in sort of D&D terms, they represent your race. They give you different abilities. and kind of a different flavor for different types, historical types of vampires. It's really neat. I've played this game since basically it first came out. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's quick. It gives you opportunity to play just about any kind of game you want. Very combat heavy, very heavy role playing, political, things of that nature. The other thing I like about it is that the line came out with a Dark Ages version, so you can play either in the Modern Knights or in the Dark Ages, or I've played campaigns that span both, where we start off in the Dark Ages, and then because you're immortal, you can kind of play down that line. So, all in all, it's great. I'm not as big a fan of the new World of Darkness that they came out with recently. Well, recently, maybe in the last 10 years. But they stripped a lot of what I liked out of it, so I really haven't given it much thought. But if you can go back and find the old World of Darkness stuff from the mid to late 90s, it's definitely a good game. Gives you something certainly different than your traditional kick the door down and loot the room fantasy role playing. So certainly check those out. The big titles are Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascendant, or no, yeah, I think that's what it's called. Changeling the Dreaming, and Wraith. So definitely go check all those out for some old school kind of, or as old school as these get, mid-90s, maybe showing my age there. But they're definitely a worthwhile read. I find the flavor very intense in all the books, so definitely check those out as well.
Number 2.
Okay, number 2 is the Star Wars RPG by West End Games. I love Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, as you can see. And really, my big reason for loving this one, I've always enjoyed playing in the Star Wars world, and no matter the system, it's going to be the same. The thing I liked about the West End Star Wars game is that it was not class-based, it's point-buy, which helps you kind of build a much more unique character. I never really felt, in terms of the books that, like, Wizards of the Coast came out with, that Star Wars really fit very well in a class-based system. I think it kind of limited you a little too much, and when they basically made, like, the 3.5 version of Star Wars, I didn't really much care for it. So I really like the West End games. It gives you everything that you're going to want to get out of a Star Wars game. It keeps it relatively simple. You use dice pools to roll against difficulty numbers. And it's just simple and easy to me. There is quite a bit of nostalgia in this decision as well, because it was the first Star Wars RPG I played. Now, that being said, I do like some of the later books for reference materials, like the Wizards of the Coast ones, particularly the Saga editions. I own all of those just for reference that I use in the West End games. So if you're looking for a Star Wars game that's got kind of a bit of a nostalgia feel, but gives you everything that you want out of a Star Wars game, then West End is, in my opinion, the way to go about it.
Number 1.
And my number 1 favorite RPG that is not Dungeons & Dragons is the Marvel Superheroes RPG by TSR. In terms of superhero RPGs, this has it all. Not only do you get to play in the Marvel universe, which is awesome, but the rules are very simple, very light, keeps the action going without bogging you down in rules and excessive math like a lot of other superhero RPGs do, frankly. One of the other things I love about this is the random character generation. You obviously can build your character as you like, or you can utilize a random system that can give you some very unique and unusual heroes. And you really just have to kind of use your brain and put together the powers it gives you and see how you can put it together. The other thing I find very unique about this system, which no other superhero system has done in my mind, is it handles how powers work in superhero comics way better than anything else. In superhero comics, you have your characters have powers, but whenever you get a new writer, they find a new way to use that power. And the Marvel Superheroes RPG takes use of that in a system they call power stunts. So you may have an ability, say, to control fire, or to make fire come out of your hands. But let's say one day you need to utilize that ability to burn up the oxygen in the room to make somebody pass out. You can utilize that ability and your karma points, which kind of works both as a dice manipulation mechanic and your experience points, to essentially try something that doesn't fall completely within the purview of your power. So it allows even characters with the same power over time to be different because of the different power stunts they've developed. And essentially, after you pull off a power stunt a couple of times through the use of your karma, it becomes part of your suite of powers. So it's not something that you have to kind of keep spending those points on after you get used to it. Which is awesome because it gives you a way of expanding out your characters in unique ways. And also, the books came with great maps, stats for all of your standard superheroes, villains, bystanders, all of that, so that you really get the full Marvel Comics experience. And it's a ton of fun. I love rolling up characters. I love throwing down with this game. And it is, in my opinion, the best superhero game that has ever been on the market. And I will argue that point till the day I die. So, best superhero game, best non-D&D RPG, in my opinion. Check it out. You can find the rules for free online, I believe, now. But it's definitely worthwhile. Take a look at it, enjoy it, and go out and kick some supervillain butt. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any other ideas for top 5 lists, please leave them in the comments below. We'll catch you next time.